Today's episode of Off the Timeline is titled Miami Didn't Collapse, It Became Unavoidable. What if, in 2003, Miami football made a decision that didn't look reckless at the time? They didn't panic, they didn't reset, they didn't chase nostalgia. Instead, they hired Steve Spurrier, a name straight at the center of the college football power. That decision didn't just change Miami, it quietly reshaped how conferences think, how brands move, and why some programs survive chaos while others don't. But first, we need to set the table on the problem Miami thought it was solving. By 2003, Miami wasn't bad. They were something worse. They were drifting. Still elite, still talented, but trapped between a fading conference model and a sport consolidating power elsewhere. Miami didn't think the problem was coaching. They thought the problem was position. And Spurrier wasn't hired to restore swagger. He was hired to force reactions. But now to set the table on why Spurrier was the rupture. Spurrier didn't fit Miami, but that was the point. He brought structure instead of chaos, precision instead of improvisation, and a public voice that didn't defer to boosters or tradition. Miami didn't lose its edge, it redirected it. And once Spurrier arrived, the next decision became unavoidable. And let's set the table for the conference fork. Miami faced three paths: the safe one, the regional one, the extreme one. They could tuck into the ACC and stabilize quietly. They could gamble on a national media future with the Big Ten, or they could step directly into conflict. Miami chose the SEC, not because it was comfortable, because it mattered. And that transitions to the immediate fallout from 2004 to 2007. The results weren't magical, they were disruptive. Miami won games, they lost some ugly ones. They adapted to SEC physicality faster than anyone expected. But the real impact wasn't on the field, it was political. Miami didn't act like a grateful newcomer, they acted like a brand that knew it had leverage. And that made people very nervous. And that sets the table to a rivalry that turns toxic. The first program to feel threatened wasn't Alabama, it was Spurrier's old team, Florida. Spurrier, Miami, SEC turf. This wasn't a rivalry, this was personal. It was a referendum on control. Every close game, every recruiting battle, every press quote. Florida wasn't angry because Miami beat them. Florida was angry because Miami didn't ask permission. That ignites the rivalry. And here's where the sport misread what was happening. Miami, in, in their attempts to leverage power, never threatened to leave the SEC. They did something smarter. They listened. Quiet conversations with the Big Ten, media hypotheticals, academic alignment chatter. No ultimatums, just possibility. And suddenly, conferences stopped pretending geography mattered more than inventory. And that sets the table for the program that breaks. Because while Miami survives the era, another program does not. Florida State watches Miami gain SEC influence while they wait for leverage that never comes. They chase rumors. They overcorrect. They lose prestige one coaching cycle at a time. Florida State doesn't collapse, they erode. And erosion is harder to reverse than failure. And that sets the table for Spurrier's final move. By the mid 2010s, Spurrier sees the shift coming, not in schemes, but in scale. Recruiting departments expand, staffs grow, infrastructure beats ingenuity. So Spurrier does the one thing that preserves Miami's future. He leaves before decline forces him out. He handpicks a successor. No drama, no flame out, no identity reset. Miami stays upright. And that sets the table for Miami's true playoff window. Because in this what if scenario, the 12-team playoff comes early, yet Miami's real window isn't domination, it's danger. From roughly 2014 to 2016, they have veteran rosters, elite speed, But they're no longer the hunted team. Miami doesn't need to be perfect, they just need the right draw. They come close, very close, and then the margins close, and that sets the table for the 2017 to 2025 window. Post Spurrier, Miami chooses restraint. They don't chase saviors. They don't reboot their culture. They don't implode. They become something quieter, consistent top 10 recruiting classes, regular playoff contention, occasional deep playoff runs. By 2025, Miami does win a playoff game. They lose one, and the reaction tells you everything. No outrage, no panic, just expectation. And that leads us to the end and the truth about power. Miami never becomes a dynasty again, but they never fear extinction again either. They traded dominance for permanence, and in modern college football, that's not failure. That's survival with leverage. Miami didn't win this what if era. They outlasted it. And they taught the sport something very uncomfortable. Chaos doesn't ruin programs, but overreaction does.